do all the technical. In your all group A, B, and C, you have to do all the technical assignments. Now, when you are doing assignment, actually in your subject, what you are making, actually, you are making some product, right? It may be SMPS, switch mode power supply, or it may be some converter like buck boost converter. So what you are doing experimentation. At the end of that experimentation, you are making some product. Let others also join. Okay, till that time we'll be discussing the basic thing. So creation of SMPS or creation of any hardware, it simply indicates making some product. What is the aim behind, or what is the objective behind designing this subject, that you will be able to create some product, and this skill based education will help you to become an entrepreneur. So when you think of creating a product, then documentation is an important part that you are supposed to study. What is the need of this documentation? Why this assignment is added in group B? Because this is the most important thing, how you are publishing and how you are making the advertisement of your product, how your documentation is helping other to take your work, other to uh, study how the product work, other to know how the troubleshooting can be done. So everything uh, resembles here creating a good document. So today in today's session, we'll be talking briefly about introduction about documentation, its importance, different types of documentation, knowing your audience, basic documents, visual techniques, view graphs, layout, documents for developing electronic instrument, software documentation, and I'll also be covering industrial visit report. Now, when you're solving the problem, you will be given from the your teachers are providing you the complete format of how to write assignment. Step by step format is given to you how to write assignment. Apart from this, how you can make the documentation related to the product in which you are generating, that we will be discussing. So if you see the course outcome of your subject, you will find CO4, that is course outcome number 4. A student would be able to communicate effectively at different technical and administrative level. What does it mean? The communication here does not only mean how they are communicating with each other in English language. When you think of an engineer, when you talk about an engineer, an entrepreneur, or one who is developing product, your documentation is the effective way of communication. What you're telling your user about your product is the document which you are providing. You all are familiar with the user manuals, right? Whenever you buy a product, along with that you get a document, you get some user manual, and through that manual the complete introduction of your instrument is given. Okay? So that is why the group B is especially related with study of documentation. I focused here study of documentation. Specification, manual, SOP based on group B assignment will be taken together. I will be talking about that also. So let's talk briefly about documentation. So what is the importance of documentation? So documentation provide basic foundation about your product. It makes you to understand the complete product, right? Document is something which is written when the product started developing till it has take uh, its final picture, its final thing that is to be sold in the market. So documentation provides foundation for understanding the product, promotion of its capability. If your product is very good, you should able to write a proper document that make a promotion of your product, and the utilization of product, that is utility. Please others mute yourself. So this way, the documentation becomes an integral part of the product. And what documentation provides you? It provides you the information about maintenance, product upgrades, recalls, operations, its repairs, fixes, and redesign. So all the things, if your document is proper, it becomes very understand to know all whatever I have shown in this diagram. And therefore, a very good documentation creates a favorable perception of your product. How good or bad your product is, that is communicated through that document. Well, moving on, let's see what are the different types of documentation. Now you can think, as you are doing this assignment, you are simulating it on the software, then you are building a hardware, you are testing it on a breadboard, then you are preparing some PCB, and then you are making some final product or some final instrument. So whether it's creation of a product or some instrument, the documents which you are supposed to keep along with that can be categorized in this category, like introduction. The category of document may be introduction or instruction or records or promotion. Now, when I say the category of document is introduction, so you can easily understand, you might have seen owner's manual. Under this category, the specific type of document is owner's manual or video step instruction. So what this document will be providing you? It will explain the product of the user with clear, simple language, and it should be prepared professionally. Why professionally? Because it is telling user, it is completely introducing your product, your instrument. So when the category of documentation is introduction, the specific type of document created under this category is owner's manual, and it will explain this product to the user with clear, simple language. When the category of documentation is instruction, another type of documentation is based on instruction. So definitely what specific type can come under instruction? Operation manual. Like instructions will be provided. Suppose when you buy some let's say washing machine, so all the instructions will be given, how to open the door, which switch shall function in what way, everything, how the operation will take place, that is explained. So it is tailored to user, and these formats are specifically company specific. Every company decide how the format of this type of operation manual will be designed, so that is company specific. Then further category of documentation is records. What do you mean by record? What it will be providing? Hardware description, memos. The subcategory or the specific type of document which belongs to record category is hardware description or memos or drawing or photograph or electronic file or software listing. Now, what is this things we will see in the next slide. But this document is telling you the complete description of hardware written in the different formats, the picture of that hardware. Right now, you can imagine that you are creating a power supply. Let's say a positive and negative power supply you are building. You're either creating a variable or fixed or SMPS, any type of power supply you are designing. So when your product is completely ready, and some layman want to know what is there in your product, how you have designed, so that he will be able to do the further additional things in that. So record category of documentation provides the information in the complete manner, including hardware description, some textual formats, written memos, some drawing of that hardware, some photographs. So it will be clear-cut idea that how this product was developed step by step. Again, this is a company-defined format, and engineering notebook must be written in ink and signed and date for legal authenticity. What does it mean? That whatever types, specific types written here, like when I'm saying memos, then it is something in handwritten format. Then next category of documentation is promotion. What is a promotion type of category? Specifically, if you see what comes, which type of documents come under this category is technical presentation, some advertising brochure, video tape presentations, and some proposal. All these category, it define that now your product is ready and now you are making its promotion in the market, or you are writing some proposal to receive funding for your product. So these formats, when I'm saying proposal, these formats are decided by granting agency, the agency which is about to give you some fund for your product, to support your product. So that are called as funding agency. So the formats of proposal type of document, that depends on the granting agency, and rest of the formats are again company specific. Yeah. Now, what we learned in the types of documentation, that there are different types of documentation which can be categorized as introduction type of documentation, instruction type of documentation, records, and promotion. And under every category, we have seen what specific type can be included and what will be the role or the format of that document. Who will decide that format? Either it will be company specific, user specific, or like. Moving on further, let's see, when you are documenting, you first of all, you should know the importance of documentation. Because when you start doing your project, or when you start building your product, or when you start any experimentation, you have to keep the note of everything, a record of everything, step by step record, what you are doing. Every day, daily, you will be writing, today you have done this, this much stuff, dated this, signed by you or some other one. So record the development, what the documentation is doing, what is the importance, it is recording the development, step by step development of the product. And with this record, it is accounting for progress, how the progress of development of the product has been done. And finally, it establishes liability of your product, because you are declaring do's and don'ts, the legal things, and therefore the documentation establishes liability of your product. Now, when you are writing the document along with your product, along with your instrument, you should first understand the audience. You should first know your audience. Who is the user? Who is going to handle this manual? Who is going to use this document? So who is the user? What job they are performing? Why they will read your manual? Why shall they read your manuals? Because unless and until, if your user is somebody who is illiterate, if your user is somebody who is literate, then there must be some differentiation that my product is specially meant for this class of people. Okay. And if it is for both, then an illiterate person should also able to understand when he refers my document. So therefore, it is very important to know who is the audience, who are the users, what job they are performing, why they will read your manual, and are they owners? Again, you have to categorize you're going to give your manual to someone. Are those someones are owners, or operators, or service personnel, or dealers, or distributor? Okay. That you are supposed to classify. First, know the audience, who is going to refer the manual, who is going to refer the document. So you should do this survey. Now, there is one type of questionnaire survey. So to know these things, one can carry some survey, like I have shown here, some questionnaire, like user capabilities. So you have to conduct such surveys. One has to conduct such survey, or one can conduct the informal interviews or beta site observations. So there are some sites which are giving the interest of the user. And there, by conducting such survey, for example, you see user capability. So there are multiple options are given. Are they literate? Do they have similar product? So everybody will choose according to what is applicable to him. And finally, when I will collect this document, this questionnaire survey from various people, from some population, I will understand what is, is the type of population that are about to use my manual. Got it? When you are documenting something, you must know who is going to handle this document. And therefore, you should categorize first of all. Then how to do categorization? You have to conduct either informal interviews or use some beta site observation. Beta site, if you type on Google, you will get that there are some sites where such type of surveys can be conducted. All such surveys, some forms are distributed and then it has been taken and then some conclusion is made. And by taking this input, you will understand what is the level of reading, how you should prepare the document, what shall be the level of reading. Are your users saying that they are illiterate? Does that the class who is going to refer is of which category? That you will come to know and you will understand their level of reading. Okay? And accordingly, you will design your document. So that document must be simple, short, concise. This is always preferable. Then depending on this survey, you will decide how should be the layout of the text and graphics. If my users are not much literate, they will not understand the stuff I'm going to write, but your graphic shall explain you how this thing is operating. So some graphical or some pictorial views shall be there. So layout of text and graphics, you'll be able to decide. So you have understood your population and what are the user need, then you are writing it. Then intuitive format or instructional flow, how the instructions about that product shall be given, how the warnings shall be written, different updates and appropriate all other details. So when you are preparing documents, you must know how what type of users are about to handle this. Okay. There are only 27 students. I guess all the batches are about to join this. How many batches have joined? Aditya? Only 27, 20, 20, 28, 27 students are there. Am I audible? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's talk. We have seen some names like engineering notebook, drawing schematic, memos. Let's see what is that. So in this slide, we will be seeing the basic documents which are supposed to create when you are preparing or when you are developing some product, when you are creating some instrument. Let it be anything from your group A, B, C, whatever you are doing. So you can start preparing engineering notebook. What is engineering notebook? It's simply like the notes. Okay. Now suppose you are doing your assignment number 1. Let's say you are creating some SMPS, switch mode power supply. Now you are implementing the design. So in this notebook, you will be writing the complete design. While designing, you may choose some IC. You may prefer to use some IC. So in such cases, you should write there that what is the reason for design, what is the reason for selection of such component, what are the different circumstances you are coming across, the details of equipments. Then we will be doing some experimentation, the results of all that experimentation every day by day information you are keeping. Now what is the need? You will say why I shall write this. I have selected, for example, some capacitor of 22 microfarad. Then sometime today you are working on this, sometime a new engineer will come and he may require to make some repair or some upgradation. So that time a newcomer shall understand that this was the reason of selecting 22 microfarad capacitor. So now I must use the same, or shall I go for other? So it will be better for him to take the decision. Also, these type of record will help you to keep progress, to keep the track of the progress, how much development in that instrument is done till today. So this kind of notebooks are called as engineering notebook, where this is a handwritten manual and you are writing date as well as sometimes you are signing there. Suppose you are you have design, you are a design engineer, design, so you will sign that this is the things designed by me, this is approved by XYZ. So you will be keeping track of such type of day to day the work of design, the result for design decisions, and everything you are noting. That is the engineering notebook. Next comes the drawing and schematic. So you are doing some, you are either it will be a software type of simulation of your product or the instrument, or it will be some breadboard design or the complete hardware. So whatever drawing and schematics involved, that you have to prepare properly. When you are preparing the drawing and schematic, the title box shall include project title, date of drawing, and revision number. Sometimes what happens, today you are designing SMPS, or suppose you are designing some buck converter. While designing buck converter, you have Pooja, please mute yourself. So when you are designing some converter or some power supply, you have drawn the circuit diagram. Okay, so you have noted it, on this date I drawn this circuit diagram. Then you want to run it, then you want to test it, but you see that it is not working anyhow. Then you do some R&D, you replace some component and go for other. So that is why every time when you are making changes, you draw the schematic or drawing, including the title of that and date of drawing and revision number. This is the first, this is second revision, this is third revision, and reason for change, why you are going for second revision, what was the problem, right? Along with your engineer name. So it will be helping to understand that this diagram was not, my circuit diagram was not able to run with this and this specification of the component. So that is why I have changed. Again, I have drawn the new. Whatever interfacing or whatever changes you are making, that shall be reflected. And again, with this, you should keep on drawing and schematic, including drawings and schematics. So this type of document is referred as drawing and schematic. Next is the memos. So memos serves formal record of product development and provide chronological audit. So it is similar to your engineering notebook, and it is what, when, why, and how the development is going on. Here also you are noting, but in the chronological sequence, but this format has been specifically designed by the company. I am going through development of a product. So company will give me some format for memos that I shall include step number this, step number this. So what is happening to this product? Then next to that, what was your step? So everything there is predefined company format where you are writing about your document in the brief fashion called as memo. The next documentation type, basic documentation types, come manual. Now you have to prepare manual in your assignments. Now what is a manual? What are the different characteristics of a manual? So your basic contents of the manual shall address what, why, and how. What means prominently note the model number and version. You have developing the product. What you are developing? I am developing switch mode power supply. What is the model number? You have created XYZ model number. What is the version? This is the version of version 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, like that. So your manual shall first cover those basic contents. What means it should address to is typically the model numbers and the version of the instrument you are creating. Then why? Why means clearly explain the need or theory. I have developed SMPS switch mode power supply. So your manual shall address what is the need of switch mode power supply and the theory regarding that. Now theory means it should be a very clear cut idea. Even though I am not a technical person, I should, after reading your document, I should able to know how SMPS work. So you should write the related theory. and how details of the operation, how the product is operating. So you have to write details of operation. Now, if you see every day when you are writing your journal, so there you are writing theory. Why you used to write theory? Because to give the brief idea, theoretical background of the experiment which you are performing. And you are writing some apparatus and all, but when you are dealing with the user manual, you must prominently note the model numbers, its versions created, then it should explain the related theory, and the detail of the operation shall be in talkative, details of the operation shall be included in that manual. Then your manual shall be it should have very clear organization. Okay, like as you write aim, objective, apparatus, theory, procedure, circuit diagrams, and so on. So when it's a manual, there must be a format and it should be very clearly organized. The writing style that you are using should be very concise, simple, and to the point. The document should be very simple. It should not be complicated, straightforward, point to point discussion. It should have a modular format, and the diagrams or figures or tables shall be clearly illustrated. The detailed schematic of your product or instrument, then you must include table of content, index, cross-reference. Table of content means what is there in your manual, what are the content. You're going to talk about operating instruction, then do's and don'ts, whatever. So you will be declaring it in the table of content. You will be preparing its index, and everywhere you are giving cross-references also. Then your manual must be appropriately binded. Now see, you have designed some product, okay, and you have designed a document also, some, let's say, manual, but it's binding now. It's hardbound manual you have done. Now user is want that instruction from your manual to repair something. Hello, are you there? Unmute yourself, everyone.
Yes,
Unmute
ma'am.
yourself, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you getting? This will be helpful to you as an engineer. Are you getting? Any doubt in understanding? Yes or no? Are you getting or not?
Yes, ma'am. Getting.
Okay, only Amit is getting. Okay, now suppose you might have observed many times while repairing some vehicles, the person has to lay down on the ground and then he used to repair some fault in the vehicle. Now, in such cases, I must keep the proper binding. Suppose it is spiral binding, then I will be able to keep my document on the earth. But if it is not good, it is different type of binding, then it may not remain flat on the ground. So appropriate binding, depending on what is your product, where it will be used. So appropriate binding shall be prepared. Okay? And introductory section titled "Getting Started." You might have seen the manual. Getting started, how to get started. So often this information, getting started, many times it is the only section that user used to read. Okay, I'm not interested to go through the whole document. I will simply say getting started, my job is done. So preferably you have to prepare it very carefully, because mostly this is the section which user is going to read. The next category of documentation is brochure. Now you everybody know what is brochure. Brochure and advertising literature introduce your product to the customer. You want to introduce, you prepare a nice brochure, give the very good information about your document specific to the market, company, and product. And these documents form the first impression in the customer's mind. So when I don't know anything about a new product, but if its brochure is very attractive, good, I will get attracted as a customer. Then another type of documentation is presentation. Presentations are frequent form of communication, and like memos cover all the particulars. Now it's you are presenting the information. So you have to, the presentation may be form of some video, or it may be form of some PowerPoint presentation. So when you are preparing presentation, it should have typical format like opening. Your start of the presentation should be such that it should gain the attention of the customer or one who are listening, right? You should talk, you should typically identify the problem, and then you should tell that how your product is going to uh, solve this problem. Then there is a body of presentation where you are uh, explaining in detail, in point wise, how that problem is solved, and then finally conclusion. So when you are giving presentation, remember that it should be attractive, simple, is very precise, and point to point explanation. Begin shall be good and conclusion shall be good. Further type of documentations are proposal. Now suppose you have made a product and you want some funding for development. Let's say in the development process you want some fund to develop the product. So that time you're writing proposal. So when it's a proposal type of document, it shall include a covering letter to which agency you are writing. So you must write a covering letter to that agency. Then you shall include the abstract about your product, short description, abstract, then introduce your product, statement of the problem, objective for designing the product, description of the product, and schedule. Your schedule, it means at this phase you are about to complete this much part, at this phase you are about to complete this much part. Important is budget, how much amount of money you are requiring for what type of expenses, because you have to send it to receive the money from some agency. Then personnel and organization, future use and application. So this way you can write a document called as proposal, which you can submit to some funding agency. Finally, electronic network and files, most widely used nowadays. And this refers to the various corresponding business record, software programs, drawings, and illustration. And although they provide quick and easy access, these files require precautions to avoid corrupting or losing. I have prepared everything data. I told you how to prepare a engineering notebook and so on. So the same thing you can store in the electronic networks and file, but only you should take precaution that the data shall not be lost because of damage of the electronic device. So you might be creating multiple copies, right? So you have to take proper precaution while storing this data. Another type we'll see here, visual technique. Now, what is visual technique? You are creating a document, okay? And as a third person who is never interested to read whatever is written there. Nobody is interested to read each and every line. So in that case, a good way of communication is visual technique. Now, what does this visual technique includes? It includes drawing, photographs, charts, and tables. So drawing refers to instrumental and emphasizes specific point. Your drawing will tell everything about the product. Then its photograph will provide the proper information, how does it looks, right? Then the different chart, how it is providing result, you may represent in the form of some chart, or you can represent some data in the tabular form, tables. So this is the visual techniques which will be creating a good impression. Now, when you are using visual technique and including these documents, you must take some care. For example, you are representing the data graphically. I have shown here two graphs here. Which graph looks better? Simple to understand out of these two. Left or right? Left or right? What do you think? Abhijit, Gauri? Which graphs is simpler to see? Yes, Abhijit? Pankaj Patil? Sairaj? Shriram Pawar? Are you there? Are you there or not?
Left, ma'am.
Which graph seems to be better to understand out of these two? The left or right? Better, simple.
Left one.
This one? For you, is it easy or this one is easy? Pankaj Patil? Vaibhav Furde? Shall I mark you absent? Unmute, everybody, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Which graph is easy to understand out of these two? The moment you see, yeah, this is okay. I can understand it better. Out of these two graphs, if you see, I have included here graphs that all the units. Then I wrote here three different things that this line is indicating this line is indicating this. And here again, I have included the similar type of note. Okay, so multiple things I am showing here. Whereas in this graph, it is the same information is given, right? The same graphs are given, and whatever I want to display, I have shown here arrow, and that the things are very much clear. So this graph is simple to understand. Moment you see, no, not much kind of stuff is included here. So these are simple. So you should include such graph that are simple to understand by the normal person who is even not technical. When you are drawing the flow chart, two flow charts are shown here. But if you see this flow chart, right one, these commands are not shall not be included in the flow chart. So when I shall not do whatever I wish, but I shall use the standard procedure. The flow chart shall be in this form only, whatever I am showing here with the help of cursor. Then if I have shown here table, here I am showing the complete grid structure, and here I am not showing any grid structure. Which seems better? Generally, these type of graphs where I'm showing the cursor. Let me see, I cannot annotate it here. So here it seems very simple and attractive if I don't include such type of cells here. But sometimes this is the graph where I haven't included the cell structure, but you see the middle portion is very large. It is getting introduced in this column and in this column. So it is confusing. So in such cases, I can prefer such type of table. So you should able to choose what type of tables one can use. So when you want to do some comparison of data, so in this case, V, W, X, Y, Z, these things are shown here in the column format, and here these things are shown in the row format. So better when you are comparing, you may prefer the column format, as one can side by side compare everything. So these are the things you must remember: what type of graph, what type of table shall be included, so that everybody will able to understand. The another document format is view graph. Now what is view graph? It combines text and visual to reinforce message to the technical talk. So somebody has given some technical talk and I want to brief it. So what you can do, or whatever you wish to see, why view graphs? Because when you read something and when you view something, so view graphs, viewer's short-term memory saturate at somewhere between 5 and 7 facts. If I'm reading something, lot of things, so I may not use it. But if you have very concise, typical some points, then it creates a brief things about that. For example, now I have to create view graph. So what care shall I take in? I shall not create a very long bulleted list. I shall not use all capital letters. Mixing type of fonts and families, fancy typeface, all italics. Somewhere you can eat, but not all italics. So you must take care that correct grammar and spelling. Most important information at the top of visuals. Use simple sans serif typeface or legibility. So it is suggested this type of font. Okay, and not more than 10 to 20 word per visual. So whatever you want to write there, you write it briefly, point to point, not more than 10 to 20 words per visual. You can use some phrases, okay? Spaces appropriately, okay? Leave generous margin in the view graph. So textual and visual information can be created. Now here two view graphs are shown. Cellular logic operator. Here some operation is written, then ASCIC design, ASCIC performance, and same thing is written here. So which creates a good impression? This much, right? Very in the typical fashion with very few words operation, 510 by 510 cell universe, 3 by 3 neighborhood. So a technical person will immediately understand it. You need not to go for this because nobody is interested to read a lot of stuff. Finally, layout. Okay. Now, please mute yourself. Somebody is unmuted. So table of content, how you will prepare the layout for document. So there must be table of content, then introduction, then general description of your product, the operation of the product, limits of operation, maintenance procedure, troubleshooting, if any fault happen, how to troubleshoot, then different appendices and index finally. Okay. So if your manual is not organized properly, it will be very much confusingly, where shall I go if this is a problem? If I am facing some problem, I want to troubleshoot. So your manual at the first page shall give me introduction that I must switch to this page. So this is all about the basic type of documentation. Now, what we have talked about engineering memo, engineering notes, memos, all that are some that documents are used to describe some concepts. So if it is memo, then it is conceptual design. So that is given in the book. We will not be discussing that. Yeah. So similarly, there will be whatever we have talked about instrument or hardware type. So similarly, there is a process to write a document for a software documentation also, which can be categorized like this: product documentation and process documentation. So product documentation, you have to do the system documentation, users documentation, product documentation, user documentation, and process documentation. So this is how you have to create the documents. I'll be briefly talking about if you are visiting industry and when you have to prepare industrial report. See, whatever information I have given you, when you start doing assignment, you should able to maintain your engineering notebook. Every day, what part you have done, you have drawn this diagram, you have done this simulation on this date, whether it is working, if working, what is the result, and so on. If it fails and you want to go for another design, on the next page, you should write why you have changed, what was the problem, it was not working, and so on. This is the standard procedure to create a document. And then once it is done, you have to create a final product manual or user's manual where you are giving the operating instruction, where you are giving the troubleshooting instruction, and you are preparing the document as I have shown the index. So you can, layout, you can include, you can prepare your document. So at least from all this, you can prepare one document, not for all the product, but you can choose one and you can prepare that manual. Okay. Now, if you are going to some industry, visiting industry, then how shall you prepare an industrial visit report? So first of all, in your report, you shall include about the company. What you will write about company, its registration detail. You can get it from any online information, or when you're going there, you have to talk with HR and take this registration detail, company name, registration date, registration number, its registered address, and who is the current director or management, and what is the current status of work company. Of course, if you are visiting, that will be a working company. Then you should write about the production. Production means product of the company. What is company producing broadly? Is it an automobile company? Who are the main competitor of this company? Suppose you have visited Bajaj Auto Limited, then it's an automobile company. Who are the main competitors in the market? So other automobile company, you can write, these are the main competitors of this company. So you will understand thoroughly the company and about the surrounding company also. Production in detail. If there are multiple, suppose it is producing two-wheeler, four-wheeler, so how they are doing the production in that plant. So their production detail you have to write. Then production process. what is the process step by step? Suppose you are um, visiting a PCB making company. So what is the first process? How the design is been made, then how it is taken on the PCB, then what is etching. So step by step flow chart type production process and the module wise description of each block of flow chart you are expected to write. Then what are the distribution channel? How the company is selling the product through the distribution channel. Then market and pricing. What is the market strength of that company? Market strength you can write in terms of number of distributors or wholesaler, or how that product value for money. Then market share. How much is the percentage of market share in India? What is the predicted turnover? You can write in that. Okay, now that depends on the company also. So even if it's a small scale company, you can include this. Cost of the product and its analysis. Why this much is the cost of this product? How it justify? Cost of the product and its analysis. Pricing strategy of the firm. Why the firm has kept this much cost? So how they are this category of income group. Strict control, strict cost control at every points of supply chain. How the pricing strategy is there for the product that you must maintain. So these things shall be included in the while preparing industrial report. Finally, write infrastructure about that industry, how labor management is taking place, and finally, in point number 12, you have to make the conclusion. Now, to study in the documentation in details, I have included some questionnaires here from your book. What type of, whenever you want to do some type of surveys, or you wish to go for design, what each and every minute things you are supposed to learn, that is included here. So in your general assignments, you are including the problem statement, specifications, block diagram, component selection, design calculation. See, when you are writing specification, so you have to attach the data sheet. Don't only attach the whole data sheet, but underline the parameters that you are using. Suppose you are considering some operating point of some let's say transistor. You are selecting IC and DC, so you must mark it on the manual. You are considering some temperature range or a current range, then you must appropriately mark it in the data sheet. Then design calculation, simulation result, bill of material, conclusion. So all these things you must include in your every assignment. So the important book for this chapter is the book by Fowler, Electronic Instrument Design, and I have also given the scanned copy of that. Okay, so this is about study of documentation. I have explained you importance of documentation, why we have to study documentation, how when you are developing your assignment, what kind of document you have to do. So it is not applicable to, it is applicable, but you can do this kind of preparation of the complete manual for any of the assignment. And you must know that as you are building some product, what type of document shall be prepared and maintained. Okay, so this is all about your type B of assignments. Now please let me know, can you see your attendance? Is your attendance is marked?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
No, please wait. Let me take attendance. EFT, what was there? EFT theory, na? Only one attendance is marked here. Okay, let me include your attendance now. Okay, please give your attendance. This is 3 to 4. Amita Mange,
Present, ma'am.
just a minute, please. Amita Mange, present.
Present, ma'am.
Vedant,
Present, ma'am.
Sairaj, Sairaj Bhandari, Pawan Kumar, Chetan Chaudhary, Sagar Dede,
Present, ma'am.
Prarthana Dore, Prarthana, Abhijit Dhumar,
Present, ma'am.
Vaibhav Furde, Sagar Gaikwad, Akanksha Karoke, Akshata Karoke,
Present, ma'am.
Pranita, Om Bhor, Sejal Mate, Prathamesh Naik,
Present, ma'am.
Sujal Patil,
Hello.
Brunei Pawar,
Present, ma'am. Ma'am, Pranita present.
Pranita present. Sujal Patil, Brunmai Pawar, Pradeep Sadole,
Present, ma'am.
Gauri Salgar,
Present, ma'am.
Yogesh Sandbor, Harshada Sawant, Namrata Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Bharat Tote,
Present, ma'am.
Anurag Wagh,
Present, ma'am.
Omkar Shete, Disha Karpe, Sagar Kundu, Ashutosh Patil, Pankaj Patil,
Present, ma'am.
Sanskruti Patil,
Present, ma'am.
Shriram Pawar,
Present, miss.
Rutuja Sawant,
Present, ma'am.
Sakshi Shinde, Seema Zore, Omkar Kalekar,
Present, ma'am.
Prathamesh Patil, Abhishek Kumbhar, Onkar Kokate, Sakshi Gore,
Present, ma'am.
Aniket Cholle,
Present, ma'am.
Tushar Gade,
Present, ma'am.
Nikita,
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Suraj Gade,
Present, ma'am.
Ruturaj, Ruchika, Ruchika is absent, Sakshi Maza, Chelsea, Pooja, Aditya Kumar, Saurabh Dukare. I have not seen the chat box, so I will take the name of absent student. If anybody is there, please tell me. Sairaj Bhandari, Pawan Kumar Boka, Chetan Chaudhary, Prarthana Dhore, Sagar Gaikwad, Om Bho, Sejal Mate, Sujal Patil, Murmai Pawar, Yogesh Sandor, Harshada Sawant, Omkar Shete, Disha Karpe, Sagar Kundu, Shutosh Patil, Sakshi Shinde, Prathamesh Patil, Abhishek Kumbhar, Onkar Kokate, Ruturaj Gade, Sakshi Mahajan, Chelsea, Aditya Kumar, and Saurabh Dukare. Okay, you can leave the meeting.